Hi guys, good morning and good evening. Let's start today about MSI Architecture. So what is inside an MSI? How is this designed? Okay, it's a very easy architecture. Okay, nothing much to, nothing complicated here. Okay, I'll explain you what it is made up of. Okay, so before it starts, okay, let me open my notepad so that I can give you some notes as well. Let me take one sample app. Okay. Let me take one sample application. Source folder. Okay. Let me take this app. 7G1900X64. Now if I go to start, I have Advanced Studio, which I'm not going to use now. Advanced Studio I'll use later. If I come down, I'll have Install Shield. I'm going to click on this Install Shield 20 to explain. Continue to evaluate. Here I'm going to File, Open. I have the MSI. What happened? Why it's taking some time to load. Okay. Now, this is your install shield application where you will be working or you will be developing your MSI. Now, in this install shield application, you have various tabs: start page, project assistant, installation designer, Microsoft AppV, VMware ThinApp, Citrix XenApp. Our work will mostly or always will be in installation designer. We will not use this section of AppV or VMware ThinApp. There are separate softwares from their own organizations. We will use that. Okay. Now this does not come for all these things based on the licenses that you have procured in your company. It will be based on that. But most of the generic licenses that you will get is only the installation designer. Now let me explain, okay, about this particular window or the console window, how to use. Now what I have done, I have opened 7zip 1900x64 install sheet in direct edit mode. Okay, this is direct edit mode. Okay, we'll see there's one more mode called transform mode. We'll see that later. Okay, now you have something called as general information here. Now what I have done is I've opened the MSI. Okay, I've opened the MSI using my install shield. Okay, and now I have the list of activities or list of metadata information of that particular MSI. Now here you have the product name. Here you have the product version. Then you have the product code. Now the most This name version is understandable, but this product code that you have is a very, very, very important one. You can have multiple versions of 7-zip 19, multiple 7-zip 1900 if the product code is different for each MSI that you're going to install. So an MSI or an application is identified by the product code. This is the actual name. It's like your Aadhaar card. It's unique. It's like your Aadhaar card number. It's unique. Or like your social security number. It's unique for that particular MSI. Okay, and this is an upgrade code, which could be two MSIs can have the same upgrade code, but two MSIs cannot have the same product code. I'll talk, I'll talk about upgrade code later. Next, you have install condition. Say if you have a condition, okay, say normally say if you want admin user to install, okay, you can set up a condition as okay, like this. You can select condition, add something like this. Yes. Now I can add this admin user. Then if you drop down, you will get some prompts. Okay. Admin user equal to, if I click OK. So like this, you can create some conditions. But in the production, if your MSIs already have a condition, as a best practice, we have to delete those conditions. We should not keep any conditions as a best practice, okay, in your production environment. Now you have the install directory. Okay, guys, I'll be using the word called best practice. That is a tried and tested method that has been working across the globe, across all the projects, so that it does not have any technical reasoning, but it will have a it's a tried and tested method. That's why we use the word called best practice. Okay, now the install directory, it is going to C program files 7-zip. Now what you see here are the environment variables, which I will talk later, okay, in the duration of the class. Okay, and it will go now. If that means it is going to install to C program files /7-zip. Okay, so next we don't touch any of these. We don't even touch the MSI logs. So there's a different method for it. Next, you have summary information stream. What is the summary information stream? Is now you hover here, no? You see that item type, authors, title, subject. You see that?
Yes, we can see.
Now, this is your summary information stream. Whatever changes that you make on the summary information stream, it is available here like this. Okay. Next is you have your add or remove programs. Okay, you have disable change button, disable remove button, disable repair button. So what does this disable means? See, it's all no. That means it's enabled now. If you put SSS, it will be disabled. So what I mean to do here is In my add or remove programs, if I click on some app, you have uninstall button, repair button, change button. If I want to make to disappear this button, all that I have to do is click on yes, 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 here it will disappear. Okay, and these are all whatever you see here are the properties that is actually executed here, or the properties that are executed here. Okay, now next is your setup design. So while explaining the console, now let me also explain the architecture of an MSI. Now observe this. Okay, under organization, under setup design, I have an architecture of an MSI. That means you have a specific structure for MSI. The structure is, the architectural structure is, you have something called as feature. A feature can have sub-feature or directly the components. Now what's happening is this particular feature, if you see, is having few components, and the components will have file registry key and shortcuts. So what you see in this folder, like FM, you have the folder with some notepad kind of an option, right? Those are called components, components, components. This is features, and this is files and registry keys. Now, in the interview question, they'll ask you, what is the architecture of an MSI? So when they ask you, explain the MSI architecture, okay, your answer should be features. Okay, basically MSI architecture is made up of features, components, and files or registry keys. Now here, what is a feature? A feature is made up of sub-features, components, sub-features and components. Now, what is a component made up of? A component is made up of files and registry keys. Files, registry keys on and shortcuts. I can put files, registry keys and shortcuts. For a component is made up of files, registry keys, and shortcuts. Okay. What feature made up of? Feature made up of sub-features and components. A component is made up of files, registry keys, and shortcuts. That should be your answer. This is the architecture of your MSI. Now, I'll talk about component after explaining the console. Okay. Holistically, in your interview question, if they ask you explain the MSI architecture, the answer should be MSI architecture is made up of features, components, and files and registry keys. Then what is a feature? A feature is made up of sub-features and components. What is a component made up of? A component made up of files, registry keys, and shortcuts. You remember this one. Okay. Now, when I'm talking about feature, observe this. You have display name, program files. Then you have language, display name as localization files. For understanding purpose, let me copy this and again paste it. Or copy. I cannot install this because it is open. Let me install the same file. Not install as such, let me run it. You click on next. Next. See this. Program files, localization file. This is your feature. Select the way you want feature to be installed. Do you see an option here? Localization files. Then do you see an option here? Program files. Then do you see an option here like 7-zip? Now, what's happening? Okay, you have your feature that is visible to your end user while installing. So this is how any changes that you make here will get reflected. If I go and change the display name here, the display name will get reflected. Let me cancel this. Now, whatever activity I have to do, like adding a feature, deleting a feature, adding a new feature, modifying the existing features, all of those activities I should do in the setup design. Here, I should only view my features. I should not come and do any modifications here. It is not the best practice. Even for the components, I should come and view here. I should not modify anything. Okay. Now, next, let me come to files and folders. So if you observe here, you can see the list of files that will be installed. Okay, the list of files that will be installed, and the most important part is in which component are those files located. In which component are those files located is seen here. Okay. Now after this, you have something called as merge modules. So these are nothing but if there are any commonly used files which is part of your operating system, you can use. But very rarely we use merge modules in our production environment. In fact, in my almost or more than 1,000 applications that I have done, hardly I would have used it for one or two in a very rare scenarios. Next, you have shortcuts. So this is the shortcuts that you see here, no? That you launch. Those shortcuts are defined here with the shortcut name, the way the icons are given. Okay, all of it are defined here. Next, you have your registry keys. Registry keys are nothing but your configurations, okay, how an application has to behave, those behavior configurations of the app will be implemented in the registry keys. Next, you have your environmental variables. Okay, now these environment variables are used to remove the hard-coded parts. When I say hard-coded parts, okay, I mean to say anything which is having a colon slash C colon slash. That is, I'm defining it as to go to C drive or a D drive or a E drive. I'm hard coding. Okay. So anyway, that one we'll see next few minutes. A little about environment variables also. Okay. Next, you have custom action sequences, which we will see in the last few classes. You have property manager. Okay, but we will not do the property manager here. We will do it in the direct editor. Here we will do, because here we have all the tables and everything. Here we have something called as properties. We will do it here. Then dialogues, we normally in generic situations, we don't care about dialogues because we install all the apps silently. Now this installed shield is not only used by repackages, it's also used by packagers. Now the question is, Kishore, what is the difference between packagers and repackagers? What is the difference between packagers and repackagers? Packagers are developers who create the MSI or EXE or the vendors. Like example, Adobe, 7Z, Microsoft. Repackagers are developers who recreate the MSI or remodify already created MSI or EXE in accordance with client requirement and branding. So a repackager is the person who already existing MSI he will take and he will modify it for you to install it silently or as per the company requirements. Next. So you have your direct editor. This is nothing but your database. We'll talk about the database. And most of the things which I told is there are separate classes for that. Okay. Now, this is all you have to know about your console and the architecture of your MSI. Okay. Now, while doing this, okay, what you can do is you came across and you saw something called as components, right? You had in setup design, you spoke about features, sub-features and components. This is a very critical role. And there are some component rules that you have to follow if you have to create a component. Now, what are those component rules? Okay, if you have to create a component, okay, what are the component rules that you will have to remember. First one, observe this. No two components will have same component code or same component GUID. If you come and sit here, see, you have any GUID here? You have a component GUID, isn't? You have a component GUID. You see that here? And if you observe here, it will not be the same. It will be different. It will be different. Each component ID will be different. Now, you can ask me a question. You will have components with different GUIDs, agreeable. Now, this particular component is in this feature. What if I want this component to be part of this feature also? Because while installing an app, I have an option to disable a feature. I have an option to disable a feature. In case if I do that, what if I need the capability of the files that is there in this particular component? So when you have, so what will happen is how the vendor creates it is under a different feature, you can have the same component. Okay, so under different feature, you can have the same component GUID, but both the components that have same GUID should have same files, registries, and shortcut. Okay, that is the condition. Third condition, both user specific files and machine specific files should not be in the same component. Now the next question you guys might ask me, how will I know it is a user specific file or machine specific files? Very easy to identify. User specific files will be under C drive users. Okay, here the user under username, whatever is under username, it will be user specific files. Anything that is there in C program files, C program x86 under Windows, or C:/program data, all these are machine specific files. That is, it is common to all the users who will log into the Windows operating system. That is the difference between user specific files and machine specific files. The same thing for, I could also say, or registry keys. Okay, both user specific files and registry keys and machine specific files and registry keys should not be in the same component. I will talk about registry keys in detail, about machine specific, name specific later. Okay. Fourth point, on the last point, every component should have key path. Every component should have a key path specified. Now, what is this key path? You see here, you have this key path, right? This is a very, 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 very important, because on top level, it's a rule. Every component should have a key path, but it has its relevance. Okay. I'll talk about the relevance later when I talk about cell field. Okay. It has its relevance. So that is why we call it rules. Just follow it. Okay. Just follow. This is the best practices component rules that we follow in the production. Clear? Okay. Now you understood about the component rules, right? And we saw the architecture. That's it for today. Thank you guys. Bye-bye.